Live.
Due to some violent content, parental discretion is advised.
Got a koozie. All right, here we go. What's happening? Zero, 1, 2, 5. I don't have 5. All right, well, that's that's settled. Is it settled? I don't know. Let's go back to this. Here we go.
Well, I don't know what this thing is. I think it's a strip show, dance show.
Work there, dude.
Welcome to
DeaconLive.
DeaconLive.
Welcome back, guys. On today's show, how hot is it really out there? And are some families downsizing and how they're doing it? And why can we self-heal with this new medicine to make us look like Wolverine? All this and much, much more we discussed here on DeaconLive. How are you? How are things? How are things going? Are you doing okay? Are you surviving out there in this heat? Are you surviving out there with everything that's going on in this crazy wide world of ours? I hope so. Now, don't forget, for those of you who don't know, we broadcast just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, a beautiful little town we like to call Marshville. We sit on about 22 some odd acres. We have horses, we have chickens, we have cattle, we have dogs, we have cats, goats. We got a bunch of stuff here on the property. And one of the things, as you guys know, my mom passed away several months ago. My dad's been living with us, and he basically sold everything down in Florida. Now, we're up here in North Carolina. My mom and dad were down in Florida, a little town called Claremont, and my mom passed away. So my dad basically had no reason to be down there for the most part, but he was down there, sold the house, sold all the furniture, sold all the stuff. He didn't need all that, and packed up his truck and moved to Beverly Hills, that is. But he did. He moved up here in North Carolina. He's staying on the west wing of the house. I know, baller. And but he doesn't have anything. He's just got his room. He's got his TV. He's got his computer. He's good. He's happy. He's happy with everything. But you get that thing when you're living in someone else's house, and everyone can kind of relate to this. You feel like you're in not impeding, but you're just kind of like not invading. But take those two words together and make up your own definition of it. You feel like you're in the way all the time. And my dad's always been like a solo flyer. He doesn't want to bother anyone, doesn't want to inconvenience anyone. So one of the stipulations that we said, we're going to build a small house, a tiny house on the backside of the property. Well, I'll get into that, how many hoops and stuff we have to jump through to do that just to get a stupid little permit. But we have we have several vehicles here on the property, and none of my dad they're all ours. And Dad, hey, if you want to take that vehicle and go somewhere, go somewhere. You want to take that and go somewhere and have lunch or have breakfast or go see a movie, go do that. So the other day, we were doing something out in the garage, and I was using the side-by-side, and we have a side-by-side here, and we use it for work. And he didn't realize that I was using it to, work, pile all the stuff in the side-by-side. And he just kind of jumps on it. I'm like going, whoa, wait, what are you doing? I don't want to say you have to ask, but, I've got all my work stuff on there. You're getting ready to take this away from where I'm working. Well, anyways, we went round in circles with it. And he's like, you know what? got upset or whatever and said, I'll just leave it here. So the next day, a couple days later, he goes out and actually he had a doctor's appointment on the one side of town, and he has an insurance agent that he's had, for 30, 40 some odd years down in Florida, and asked his recommendation as far as what kind of car he should buy or what kind of vehicle he should look into getting up here. Now, my dad's always been a Ford guy, but there's nothing to say that he won't look at a Kia or a Hyundai or whatever they are out there. And his insurance agent said, you know what, if you want something nice and reliable, get one of these Toyotas. They're nice, they're reliable, they're less likely, you will less likely get into an accident with them, yada, yada. And then he listed off like 4 or 5 different other vehicles. So my dad went down after his doctor's appointment. Yeah, and he took our little red Nissan out there. You guys heard me tell stories about the little D21 that's out there. And so he said, I'm going to stop by the dealership and look at a couple cars. Sure, Dad, go ahead. Do your thing. So he comes back. He's like a little kid. He comes back, and I'm up here in the studio working, and he goes, can you meet me at the bottom of the stairs? I said, sure, no problem. So I come downstairs from the studio here. Now, the studio that we have is 800 square foot, completely enclosed, AC, power outlets. It's a beautiful studio up here, and we appreciate all the people over at bellandtea.com that helps support and keep the lights on up here. So we like them as well. So make sure you show them some support. And so I go downstairs, and he goes, well, I looked at a car. I go, oh, really? He goes, yeah, I looked at a Ford Eco Sport or something like that. I go, never heard of that, but okay. And he goes, it's the price that I want, and it's got, it was a demo, and, yada, yada. He's spitting out all this stuff like he's, kid in a candy store. He's like, he's so excited. So I'm in the middle of working up here in the studio, and I go, okay, great. We'll go look at it tomorrow. I'll drop you off. You can do all the paperwork and sign everything, and you can get it tomorrow. He goes, well, the dealership said that they'd send a guy out here to pick me up to go do that. Of course they will. Of course they will. They will let you. They're hurting for car sales or anything like that. I go, does he realize where you live, Dad? He goes, oh, yeah. I told him where I lived. And just to give you an idea, he's about 25 miles from this dealership. I mean, we are 2-lane country back roads out here. So I said, okay. And then he goes, and he kind of, puts his head down. And he goes back in the house. All right, well, we'll do it tomorrow. He goes, I'll let him know we'll be there before noon. I said, okay, fine, no problem. So my wife's inside. She's working in the main office there, and I'm up here in the studio. And I don't know what it was, but I walked in the house, and, you can tell that there's something's not right. Something's missing in the house. I kind of walked around, walked on the other side of the house, walked on my dad's side of the house, walked back to my wife's office, and I go, have you seen my dad? My wife, Amy, goes, no, I've been on calls. I haven't heard. Why? I said, I don't know where he's at. He's not outside. The side-by-side's sitting over there. It's not moved. The truck's here. Your car's here. But I don't see my dad. So I text him. He goes, I'm on my way to the dealership. The guy at Ford sent a driver out here to come pick me up. Oh, so you're buying it right now? Oh, okay. So he gets home. 3 hours go by. I mean, this is like, they picked the guy up. They picked my dad up probably around 2 o'clock. And he didn't get home till like 8:30. My wife's like going, maybe, 7 o'clock. Maybe you should call and see if I'm like, babe, nope. He's a grown man. He can do it himself. This is what he wants to do. I'm not going to sit there and babysit him. He's a grown man. He can do it. If he needs problems or if he has any problems, he'll reach out to me, and I'll see what I can do to help him out and fix him. I said, and babe, I already texted him, I guess you were leaving. Thanks for letting us know type deal, So we're not walking around the property looking to see if you fell down in the yard somewhere. You're laying there dead. So he comes back, and he's got this 2021 red, candy apple red with gray cloth interior. It is a Ford EcoSport, 4 doors. It's not a hatchback, and it's not a like a drop down. It opens like left to right. I said it's a barn door. My wife goes, that's not a barn door. That's just a regular door that opens left to right. Opens up, and he's like, well, what do you think? I go, well, let's jump in and go for a ride. Now, my dad, keep in mind, my dad's been driving nothing but like cargo vans and my mom's Ford Explorer, a 2000 Ford Explorer. So he's always had like big vehicles. And this thing's small. When I say small, it's got one windshield wiper in the front. That's it. It's probably a 23-inch long windshield wiper on the front. And I felt like I was sitting in the mind of one of the Minions. You know the Minions, the little yellow guys that you see on the movies and stuff. You know the guy that's got the one eye with the lens on the front? That's what I felt like I was sitting in. Plenty of room for my dad. It's got the touchscreen this and all the automatic stuff this. And he's driving, we're driving around. He's showing us, we're just going around the little 2-lane country roads that we have here. And it's getting late. I'm like going, Dad, let's not push this. We'll take it for a big test drive tomorrow. But he was so excited. And how excited was he? Well, when we come back, I'll tell you our little excursion to the grocery shopping that we do every Friday, and how he was treating his car, his brand new car, as we were pulling into the parking lot. Stick around and you listen to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. We are broadcasting from the BellandT.com studios for cheap, fashionable clothing made here in the United States for faster production and shipping, the best quality. Check them out at BellandT.com. That's BellenTTI.com. Now, my dad has this brand new car. It's a 2021 Ford, EcoSport, something like that. And as we're driving around, he goes, it's not bad for a 3-cylinder. I'm like, what? 3-cylinder? Who makes a 3-cylinder anymore? And I'm looking at the specs, and it's a 1.0, 1.3 liter engine with the overhead cam. And, I'm looking at all the stuff. Now, it's got all nice bells and whistles. It's got the sensors on the mirrors. You can see in your blind spot, there's a little flashing orange light. I get confused with those colors. It's got total GPS navigation, a big screen, probably a nice 9-inch screen on the dash there. Kind of sticks up a little bit. It's got Bluetooth capability. It's got hands-free, all this stuff, all the stuff that the new cars have, that the luxury cars had, 5-6 years ago. Now it's being somewhat affordable for the cheaper cars. And when I say cheaper cars, I think my dad said it was like $26,000 for this car. He's going to finance it, which is fine. And he ran it out, 8 years, they'll do a car loan for 8 years. And I think his payment's like $340. So there you go. If you guys are out there looking to downsize your vehicle or get a new vehicle or whatever. Now, those out there that know, we've ordered our truck. The truck, we have a delivery date on our brand new Chevy Silverado 2500 with all the bells and whistles on it, like my dad's car. It's got all the cameras and all the technical stuff that's on it. That'll be delivered August 13th. So make sure you hang close to your podcatchers out there so you can hear exactly what happens when that truck gets delivered to us. So it's an exciting day for my dad. It will be an exciting day for us as well when we get our new truck. Now, my dad, normally, when we drive up to Walmart, I'm driving the little, it's a 1992 Datsun, little red truck, little 2-door, 5-speed, manual transmission. He gets upset because I like to park. Old truck, new truck, doesn't matter. I always like to park in the very, very back of the parking lot. So why? So no one dings your doors. You spend all this money on this vehicle. You like to try to keep it as nice as possible. And he always goes, can you park closer? I don't want to walk this far. I'm like, all right, Dad. I'll drop you off. I'll drive the truck to the back of the parking lot, and then I'll come pick you up when we're all done. So now he's got this brand new car. And he pulls up and he goes, oh, darn it. I should have gotten my handicap thing. He's got an application for it, but he didn't have a car. So he doesn't have didn't fill out the application part, or didn't fill it out, didn't turn it in yet, I guess. He's got insurance and everything on it, but he doesn't have the handicap sticker. He's like, all right. He goes, I'm like, Dad, there's a spot right there. He's like, no, it's too tight. I'm like, too tight? What do you mean it's too tight? Well, it looks like those doors will ding the side of my... I said, Dad, you could take this car and park it in a parking spot sideways. And you'd be okay. That's how small this little guy is. It's a cute car. Look it up. So then he goes, well, we'll park in the very back part of the parking lot. All right, Dad. He goes, I hope I make it. I got to walk all the way through the parking lot to get to the doors. So he parks up, right? You know how in the back of the parking lot, you pull forward so your front is ready to go out in the lane, in the turning lane or whatever, the main aisleway. And he pulls up next to a truck that's already sitting there. It's a Ford F-150, old Ford F-150, and it's running. I go, Dad, just don't get out of the car yet. He pulls up right next to the truck. I said, don't get out of the car yet. There's someone in that truck. They might get out. You don't want to bang doors as you open up or as they open up and you're trying to open up. So it's a lady. Turns on her car off. It's a lady. Like it makes any different. So the lady turns the truck off, shuts the door, and then she starts walking around to the front of the truck. I said, Dad, don't get out yet. She's doing something. She's getting something out of the passenger seat. Huh? What? Huh? Confused, All she's doing is opening the door and locking the door and closing it. I guess she doesn't have the automatic door locks on that truck. So then she walks away and my dad goes, oh, I don't like the way she opened that door. I'm gonna pull forward into the next parking spot, which is across the aisleway, into the next parking spot over there. And I go, really, Dad? He goes, I don't want anyone dinging this thing. And I said, okay, no problem. So we get out, he pulls up, we get out of the car and we start walking up to the store, which is a good distance. And I turned around and look at the car and my dad has parked the car so much that he's into the next parking spot in front of him. And I go, Dad, I said, your front tires are on the divider line there. He goes, you think I should move it? No, just leave it there. No one's going to park out here. Halfway to the store, he goes, I think I'm going to turn around and move it. All right, Dad, do what you got to do. Now he's babying this car. Now he knows the feeling that I was going through, or the reason why I am as far as parking the car of where I do. So that's what he's doing. He's got a brand new car. He's excited. It's a new toy for him. He'll have fun with it. It gives him a little bit more independence. It'll also let him be able to, if he wants to take a road trip to visit his brother, which is about 4 hours away, or his sister, which is, I think, 4.5 hours the opposite direction the other way, it allows him to do that. So I'm sure he probably feels a little bit more relieved, a little bit less stress, I should say, now that he's got some kind of vehicle that gets him around. Now, some families are downsizing, and this family right here has taken downsizing to a new extreme. Oops. Does it have thing? Does it have volume? Does it? Let's see. Nope. Doesn't. So this family right here, a family of 6, lives in a tool shed, uses a bucket as a toilet and loves it, says the people that are being interviewed. It's a shitty life is the pun that they used to start this article. A mom of 4, Jessica Taylor, wouldn't have it any other way. In June 2020, after facing financial difficulties due to the pandemic, she and her husband, Lath, L-A-T-H, I guess, I'm going with that, decided to, quote-unquote, shed the comforts of their bedroom, their 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in Northwest Arkansas. The family of 6 moved into a 500-square-foot tool shed. Now, my dad, we were talking about building the tiny house on the backside of the property. It's not going to be 500 square feet. It'll probably be close to 700 to 800 square feet. But this is a family of 6 living in 500 square feet. Friends thought it was very bizarre and a very bizarre way to downsize. One of the things that people find really weird is us living in a shed and using a composting, quote unquote, composting bathroom rather than a traditional toilet. Taylor, 30, who now resides in a loft shed in Western Tennessee, told the Post. All right, so here we go. It's a bucket system. This is how they go to the bathroom. It's a bucket system is what he says. The former bartender turned homeschooler explained her hut house, which is the outhouse. When you urinate or defecate, you cover it up with wood chips every time, and every 2 days, whether the bucket is full or not, we dump the waste into a composting bin in the woods. Great. It's gross. Where's the corn cob? And then after a couple years, obviously they don't have any long-term goals as far as getting out of this place. The waste turns into soil for our ornamental plants. Jimmy, can I come over for dinner? We don't have any room for you. Can I spend the night? They're having meatloaf too. What was that commercial? Something like that. Stovetop stuffing. So this family right here, is staying in a 500 square foot shed. Now, some can complain and saying, well, that could be child abuse or borderline child abuse because they're not living in the comforts of home. So then you have to go, okay, as long as the house is clean, as long as everyone's kept, everyone's fed, everyone's got a place to stay and sleep. And I know there are rules about kids at a certain age sleeping in the same room. The child board or whatever, child services don't like that. I guess when a boy is a certain age and a girl's a certain age, they can't share the same room. They have to have their own separate rooms. So this is 500 square feet. I mean, even if you take 200 square foot of that and say it's the kitchen living room area, you've only got 300 square feet. I mean, you're literally laying on, I guess, cots. Is it an open floor plan? I don't know. They don't have a picture of the inside. Actually, they do. Do they? Let's see. If you want to see this video for every podcast we do, we have a matching video as well in real time, as you can see it on my computer as I'm talking about it here on the air. So let's see what they say. You're going to hear a little music, probably. So the family 6, let's see. It's a 500 square foot shed. When you say shed, it's not a tool shed. I mean, it looks like it's 10 feet tall. There's a loft in there somewhere. Excuse me. So here's the living room area. Let's blow this up so everyone can see it. Here's the living room area, I guess. And is that it? Is that all I get to see? I want to see inside. Here's the beginning of it. Let's go, internet. Got an ad. I like how they say they use the bucket as a toilet and love it. So here we go. This is after. This is before. Big old law. After. See, that's not too bad. That looks good. Big open area. It looks like they're actually utilizing a lot of the couches and stuff for the kids to sleep in. So that no one really has their own bedroom. But, after a couple of years, I mean, these kids look like, in this picture, 7, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But in 5 years' time, little Tommy over here, he's going to hit puberty. He's going to start feeling strange things. There's going to be a lot of spider bites around his leg areas, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink. So they're doing that. So good for them. All right, guys, when we come back, we'll dive into something that I said, and I called it. I called it on a couple last week's or a couple of weeks ago's podcast. And I'll dive into that here when we come back. Stick around and you'll listen to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. We are broadcasting from the bellandtea.com studios. For more information on cheap clothing made right here in the United States, delivered to you quickly with a 100% customer satisfaction, check out bellandtea.com for more information there. Now, my wife and I try to make, like everyone does, they try to make meal plans and try to stretch your food budget. I could eat spaghetti all day long. I have pasta noodles, fettuccine noodles. I don't like the curly noodles. I like pasta. I like long, stringy pasta. A gentleman or a friend of mine gave me a thing of, I think they're veggie pastas I bought, or he gave me at one time, and I was like going, well, these are kind of weird. They were good. Don't get me wrong. You just have to get over the mindset of green eggs and ham. I mean, the noodles are literally green, like zucchini noodles. Am I saying that right? I don't know. Yes, noodles. I'm saying that right. And I would make a pasta. Now, my mom would always make my uncle, who lived with us at the time, make homemade pasta or homemade red sauce. He'd make, open up each cans of tomatoes, and he'd, chop up the garlic and chop up the onions, and it would sit on the stove all day long. And that was it was good. It was Uncle Jim's red sauce. But now red sauce in a jar or a can have come a long, long way. You ready for this? I'm going to turn a whole lot of heads here. I like the Hunt's in a can. For whatever reason, I don't know. There's just something different about it that I really, really like. And so, I'll ground up some, or brown up some ground beef and, add like my father-in-law used to say, guinea it up, throw a little bit of garlic in there, throw a little bit of salt, a little bit of sugar to take the bitterness out of the tomato. out of the red paste, out of the marinara, the gravy, as the Italians say. And then you just kind of, mix and match and try to do all that stuff. So I'm at the store the other day, and I'm like going, well, if I make spaghetti sauce, I don't know if my wife's going to have some or not. So I always go for a little bit more of an upgrade from the Hunt's. Now, the Hunt's in the big jar or the big can is like 99 cents. Great, perfect. Love it. It's cheap. Love it. Pasta. I can have a week-long meal for under $5, But my wife, if she wants to eat it, I got to kind of get the good stuff. So I'll go with Prego if it's on sale, and there's all these other ones out there, these low sugars. I think there's Raos, RAO''S. It's supposed to be the keto friendly, and the fucking thing's like $8 a jar. $8 a freaking jar for red sauce? Give me a break. So I don't know whatever happened. I don't know what made me do this, but I looked at Prego. I'm sitting at Prego Food Line. I'm looking at the label. All right, these are both, what are they, 20 ounces, something like that? And I'm looking at the nutritions on the Hunt's, and I'm looking at the nutrition facts on the Prego. And I said, well, let's see, sodium and sugars and all that stuff. And goddamn, if I was not surprised. Now, if you don't believe me, I'm going to switch over this camera right here, and you can see these are the actual labels from the Prego and the Hunt's. So if you look at the Prego right here, about 5 servings per container, and each serving size is about a half a cup. All right, so this is Prego spaghetti sauce, just regular spaghetti sauce. Calories, 70 calories per half a cup. All right, well, that's kind of cool. Sugar, fats, all that stuff. I was looking at the calorie content, mostly. Then I go over to Hunt's. Here's Hunt's. Serving size. Still 5 servings per container. Serving size, half a cup. Calories, 25 calories, almost a third of what the Prego is, and basically a third of the price. So I bought the Hunt's, and my wife's like, the Hunt's, and I'm like going, look, you don't want it. You don't want to eat it. That's fine. This is my meal. But I was really surprised that the cheaper stuff, which is 99 cents a can, was only 25 what did I say? 25 calories per serving as the Prego one, where you spend like $3. Sometimes you get 2 for $5 or whatever they have on special. Was 70 calories. Shit, I'm going back to the Hunt's, and then you're going, well, there's sugars and stuff, but still 25 calories. Sign me up. Now, this is something I said a while back. Is about my beer choices. As you guys know, for many years I've always been a Miller fan, a Miller Lite fan. I like Miller Lite. My dad's always drink Miller Lite. He even drinks it today while he's here, while he's living here. He'll buy like a case of beer, and that'll last him. I think this is week number 3, a case of beer that he has. And as you guys know, today is Friday. I normally do the podcast on Wednesday, but I had to push it back a little bit. I'll get into the details on that here in a minute. But here it's Friday. I am working on my 3rd case for the week. I know. Slow down, Deacon. What are you doing? But Miller Lite for a case of beer has gone up to almost $24 in some areas for a case of beer. And I looked at Busch Light, and I started doing the comparison, kind of like what I was doing with the Prego and the Hunt's red sauce. And I sit there and I go, all right, ABV for Miller Lite is, I think, 4.2. ABV for Busch Light, I think it's the same, 4.2 or 4.17. So it's about the same. How many calories are in Miller Lite? 96. How many calories are in Busch Light? I think 98. And then there's a couple other things in there. What's a case of Busch Light cost? $16. $16. That's almost $8 in some areas less than Miller Lite. So I said, thank you, Busch Light. I'm going to switch over to that. And everyone thought I was crazy. No, I'm not drinking Busch Light. My dad gave me the big story. We were out in the one side of the property. We were cutting trees down. Well, I was cutting the trees down. He was just picking up the branches with his little old man pick 'em up stick. And he gave me the whole story about Busch Light or Busch not selling beer and then turn around selling beer and it wasn't aged. Now, this is back in the 70s or 60s or something like that. I don't know. It was a big, long story. I got bored. Fell asleep on it. No, I'm just kidding. But one of the hottest beers in the country right now is an old St. Louis staple. From mid-May to mid-June, Busch Light sales jumped 4% over the last year, putting it amongst the industry's top 3 fastest-growing franchises. It's kicking butt, is what they're saying. All the signs of the time, beer drinkers are worried about rising prices and starting to pick a cheaper value, quote-unquote, value beer over the pricey premium brands. Busch Light is obviously a choice for savings. The country's best-selling value beer, and Anheuser-Busch has worked hard to keep it that way. Anheuser-Busch has worked hard to keep it that way. It's not enough that it offsets the A and B struggles with larger legacy brands such as Budweiser or Bud Light, which continue to shed the market, which continues to be the market share. But Busch Light's winning the streak nevertheless welcome the executives' work to sell more beer and grow revenues after this lackluster decade. Busch Light, when it first introduced in the spring of 1989, when the six-pack went for $3.49. It was derived from Busch beer intended to bolster the A and B lineup of light beers, then rapidly growing segments of the industry. It was expected to generate a quarter of the sales just by its namesake. Instead, it outsold it. As it continued to defy the expectation of in recent years, at a time when light beer heavyweights like Bud Light, Miller Lite, and Coors Light have seen its sales plummet, Busch Light has managed to grow its market share in each of the past 3 years and is well on its way to a 4th despite the decline of beer sales industrial-wide. So what they're saying is Busch Light, which can retail for 20% less than the Bud Light, like I was saying, freaking $8 a thing, the inflation is at its highest level in 40 years, eating away at the customer's buying power. Busch Light generates a significant portion of its sales at a place where people are really getting a pinch right now, which is at the gas station. Way to go. You know what I'm talking about. Bud Light and Miller Lite drinkers are more likely to choose Busch Light when they're paying $6 a gallon to fill up their tanks. So there you go. The gas and beer go in hand, and Busch Light is making a huge comeback. And when I say a huge comeback, I've seen more TikTok videos, and I want to use the TikTok platform for what it is. It's kind of like the litmus test as far as what's going on out in the world. I've seen a lot of people out there not knowing that they were doing it would do a TikTok video, and all I would see is Busch Light cans in the background. Busch Light cans, whether they weren't promoting it, they were just doing their little TikToks, and I would see the Busch Light cans in the background. And then you start seeing Busch Light has pushed out a Fisher's package where, this package, this case is made for the fishermen. Then they had a John Deere one when the whole thing was green. This one's made for the farmers out there. So they're doing it right, and as long as they keep the prices well, I think you'll have a lot more and gain a lot more loyal fans. All right, guys, when we come back, how hot is it out there? Well, I'll tell you how hot it is out there because it affected me, and you almost lost me. Stick around. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to... Oops. Forgot what we were doing. Here we go. Welcome back to Deacon Live. We are broadcasting from the BellandTea.com studio. For cheap, fashionable clothing at a great discounted price, go to BellandTea.com. They're made here in the United States for cheaper production and cheaper, quicker shipping to you as well. Check them out as well. Now, my wife and I, we have 22 some odd acres here. Oh, don't forget, make sure you follow us on all your social networks. And the way you do that is go over to Prophet Radio, PROPHET Radio, click on social contacts. And don't forget, for every podcast we do, we have a matching video. You can see me waving the camera, and we'd love to hear from you. And you can be part of the show. And the way you do that is while you're over at Prophet Radio. There's a little blue bar at the very bottom of the page that says Be Heard. Make sure you click on that. Opens up a microphone on whatever device you're listening to us at, and you can speak right into it, loud and clear. You can make up a name. I don't care. If you want to be anonymous, that's fine as well. And we'll play it on the very next podcast as well. And you can join us and be here right on the show with us as well. Hey, I'm on the air. That's me, honey. You hear me out there? Yes, I do. Get back in your shed. Clean the toilet over there. Now, we have horses here, and my wife does ride, not professionally, but she does enter like competitions and does clinics and everything that horse riders do. And my wife rides dressage, which is the fancy gait movement of horses. She rides English. For those of you out there who don't know what any of this means, half of it I don't know. But if you'd like to learn more, by the way, I do another podcast called Equine Dynamics with Mike Stein. He's a world-renowned farrier. And if you want to learn more about the equine community and what it takes to own a horse and how to take care of horses, go over there on iHeartRadio as well and search for Equine Dynamics with Mike Stein. I host a show, and I'm kind of like the Adam Carolla to the Dr. Drew of that show as well. So it's a fun show. It's an interesting show. It's only a half hour long. Check that out as well. Now, we have horses here. Like I said, my wife rides. So we have a nice uncovered, it's an open arena out there. And it's in broad daylight, broad sun all day long. Now, when the sun comes up, the way the arena is set up on the backside of the property, it's shaded from sun up to about 9:30 in the morning. Then it's wide open sun all day long until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon when the sun comes up over the trees and the trees cast a shadow on the other side. Now, we have a rail that goes around. Essentially, it's just, the round post, the round wooden post, that's 6 foot long. They're stuck in the ground every 10 feet, and then there's 2 rails that go horizontal to connect the vertical rails. And for the longest time, they've been toe-nailed in with 3-inch long deck screws. I know I'm getting really intricate here. But we had that area cleared out, and there was a family of deer. Now, the family of deer had just moved over probably about a quarter of a mile. They found a little area, but that used to be their place because we do have a creek, stream. We have running water that flows behind our property. So they still continually use the arena as if it wasn't there as a path or a trackway to get to their water source, which is fine. No problem. We don't mind. You can see the little deer print out there. And in the springtime, you can see the smaller deer print, which is really, really cute. But the unfortunate thing is they don't know how to go through the arena without knocking down the rails. I mean, you're talking about, 300-400 pound deer trying to duck in between rails and stuff. They knock them down. So I'm constantly out there putting them up. I said, you know what? I'm going to go out there. I'm going to make a metal bracket or buy a metal bracket from Home Depot, which is basically an L bracket. It's got 2 screws on the top and 2 screws on the side. And I'm going to mount these things out there to the vertical posts. So I'm out there. I'm sitting on the ground. Well, actually, I'm sitting on my beer cooler with my Busch Light in it. And I, put the bracket here, spin around, move 4 feet, 5 feet, turn around, put the bracket here, going all the way around. I started at about 10 o'clock, 10:30, of course, right dead in the sun. And the arena is 80 feet by 120 feet. So I started about 10 o'clock. Around 4 o'clock, I am done. I'm getting up and down. I felt weak. You get those cold chills. They're multiplying, that type deal. And I said, I gotta stop. So I loaded up everything in the side by side and went up to the house and started drinking like fluids and not the Busch Light, but I did have a little container down there with just like Gatorade and stuff in it. Just kind of it's a 3-to-1 ratio. Let's put it that way. So I get up to the house and I'm like, ooh, man, I'm dizzy. I'm lightheaded. I need to sit down, take a nice cold shower. And I was done. I was in bed, fed with my spaghetti sauce, my 25 calories per serving spaghetti sauce, in bed by 7:45, showered and everything, in bed. And I'm like, babe, I'm done. I can't. And that was on Tuesday. So unfortunately, Wednesday, the show didn't happen. I could not get out of bed. My body was weak. My body was sore. You ever seen those marathon runners when they come across like the finish line and their legs are wobbling and weebling and they can barely make it, and the other guy's trying to hold them up, and they get across the line and they just drop them. As soon as they get across the line, they just drop you did it. Get up. You're done. You just want to, that's the way I felt. So I was in bed for a couple days. There's a little bit more to the story. There's back issues and stuff, and I'll get into that here in a little bit. But that's what happened. So that's how hot it was. When you say, how hot is it out there? I'll tell you, it was hot. Now, everyone all over the world is feeling it as well. It's so hot out there that the roads are buckling. They're putting foil on bridges, and roofs are melting around the world. This deadly heat wave of the last week has sparked strange infrastructure events around the world as millions endure the searing temperatures that are still on the rise. I don't know if you guys have seen that TikTok video. I think it might have been a little stage where the UPS guy's walking up to the house and it's on a Ring camera, and he gets to the door and he drops the package down and then he falls on the floor. And I'm like, all right, guy, we got it. You should have called your supervisor to say, come get me. I'm going to be dead. Heat-related events also speak to the aging infrastructure of worldwide items worldwide structures such as roads, bridges, railroads, and buildings that are not prepared. They are not prepared for this sweltering heat condition as of late. So how hot is it out there? Well, I'll tell you. It's so hot out there that the runway at the London airport melted. An EasyJet plane lands during a sunset at the Luton airport after a small section of the runway lifted off during the high temperatures on July 18, 2022. The United Kingdom saw its hottest day on record this past Tuesday, with temperatures reaching about 104 degrees Fahrenheit. So the landing strip is falling apart. If it's not falling apart, it's sticking to the wheels as they're rolling down the tarmac. It's been so hot on the runway in London's Luton airport that the capital's outskirts have been closed as it melted. The outskirts had to be closed off because it melted in the heat. Flights are temporarily suspended to allow for essential runway repair after high surface temperatures cause a small section to lift and buckle. The heat causes materials to expand and crack. As you guys know, that's what heat does as the temperatures rise. So the concrete and asphalt found on the runways and roads are no exception at all. So that's over in London. Now over in China, a museum's roof has melted off. The heat wave has engulfed half of China, affecting more than 900 million people, or about 64% of our population. But all but two northeastern provinces in China have issues of high temperature warnings, with 84 cities issuing highest levels of red alert last week. In the city of Chongqing, which has been under a red alert and the heat led to the roof of the Forbidden City Cultural Relics Museum to melt. The heat dissolved the underlying tar, causing traditional Chinese tiles to pop off. Jesus Christ. Now over in England, back over there, it's so hot they're wrapping the London Bridge in foil. The Hammersmith Bridge in London, built in 1887, was closed to all users on August 2020 due to the cracks and the pedestals after a heat wave. The Hammersmith building in London can now be seen with silver foil around it because of the country's heat wave. You might wonder why foil. Wouldn't that attract more heat? It's part of the cooling system designed to reflect sunlight and keep it off the bridge as moderate temperatures, so its materials don't expand and crack. Engineers are working round the clock to keep the 135-year-old. I gotta fix this right. There we go. I can hear so much better now. To keep the 135-year-old Hammersmith Bridge opening during the extreme hot spells. You know, it's short of just spraying, cold water on it and just have some kind of irrigation, just kind of rinsing it down. I mean, it's over water, right? Can't you just pump it straight up? The effects of the act of the giant air conditioning unit on each of the 4 pedestal chains. What did I read there? Oh, right here. The council has hired a world-class engineers to cover the bridge with $503,000 in cooling temperature systems to keep the bridge safe temperature and alleviate any stress on the pedestal. So they're kind of like running air instead of the water and stuff. The bridge actually had to close in August of 2020 when the heat wave that caused microfractures in its cast iron pedestal. So there you go. We're not the only ones feeling it. They're feeling it all over the United States, or all over the world. Over in China, the roofs are melting off, and no one can land a plane, and bridges are taking a dump as well. All right, guys, stick on. When we come back, I'll get into a little bit more of what happened to me this past week, what laid me up in bed as well, and then we'll let you get back to what you got to do. Stick around. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to this headphones. That's another GoFundMe I'm going to put up. Welcome back to Deacon Live. We are broadcasting from the bellandtea.com studios. Make sure you check them out as well if you want some fashionable clothing at a reasonable price, shipped to you directly, all made here in the United States. Check them out at bellandtea.com. Now, TikTok and all these quick pace videos have been, popping up, and believe it or not, I get more current news from my TikTok feed than I do anywhere else, which is sad and scary because when that one plane that kind of crash landed in Miami, and I'm scrolling through my TikTok, someone automatically was jumping out of the plane, landing on those air slides that they pull out, and said, "Hey, I just got off the plane and I didn't hear anything about it, didn't know anything about it." And within probably 2 or 3 hours, boom, I see, airplane crash lands, or the landing gear folded up under a plane, causing the people had to evacuate on a tarmac. It's twice I used that word during the show. But I would see all these weird, crazy videos with no explanation, and then all of a sudden, within a couple hours, I'll put 2 and 2 together, news report, the video I just saw, and I was like, holy mackerel, that's crazy. Now, something that was caught on camera is this crazy woman right here. A woman's eerie behavior in a viral movie theater video has people shook. A recent video of a woman's strange behavior at a popcorn butter station in a movie theater has sparked debate. Is she an alien? I don't know. Maybe in a couple days I'll find out. Engaging in some bizarre behavior, engaging in some kind of bizarre, unknown beauty routine, or is it something more along an elaborate prank? Now, don't forget, for every podcast we have a matching video as well, and you can see me waving the camera. I'm going to switch to camera 4 so you guys can see this. And this is the worst part. Someone watching a TikTok video on their phone and recording the TikTok video on their phone and posting it. So it's a video of a video. It's stupid. But here we go. Nonetheless, this is what we have. In the video, a woman approaches the add your own butter station at the snack bar of the movie theater, but instead of putting the melted butter on her popcorn, she pours the gooey substance directly into her hand and then proceeds to carefully spread the butter all over her face. Like she's putting on like night cream or something like that. So here she goes. If you want to see this, make sure you go over to prophetradio.com. You can see this video. I don't think there's any music or anything to it. So here she goes. It's a white woman. Of course. It's a white woman, white girl, white gal, in like a normal like Sunday dress, sundress, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what this dress is, but here she goes. She puts her hand underneath the butter, rubs her hands together like she's doing soap, and then like does underneath her cheeks, does her nose, over her forehead a little bit, and there's 2 black girls standing at the opposite side of the station, like out of the corner of their eye going, I know this white girl ain't putting butter on her face. I don't know what they sound like, but that's what they're doing. She puts it on her face. She grabs her drink. She didn't even have popcorn. Is there something out there that I'm missing? Is there something out there where butter is a new thing on your face, where you put like hot melted butter? Easy. Without getting into some kind of sexual fetish or something? If you know something that I don't know, I'd like to hear from you. Go over to Prophet Radio and click on the Be Heard section. I'd like to hear your comments or what you think that she's doing. Now, this right here, there's a breakthrough chemical that may heal wounds twice as fast. Medical advancements that help close wounds faster have been popping up for years now. Israeli scientists have discovered a natural chemical that makes wounds heal faster. The scientists tested the chemicals out on pigs first, of course, because that's what we do. Tattoo on pigs, we make sure that the chemicals heal pigs. That causes their wounds to heal twice as fast. They hope they can create this substance with similar properties that works on humans. The chemical in question is, oh God, here we go, diindolylmethane, D-I-I-N-O. Let me try that again. You ready? D-I-I-N-D-O-L-Y-L-M-E-T-H-A-E-N, or A-N-E, sorry. Or, in its simpler form, they just call it D-I-M. So there you go. The chemical that it's a chemical that our body makes naturally and can be found in multiple vegetables like broccoli or cauliflower. This chemical could make wounds heal faster. Previously, scientists believed that DMI could help destroy cancer cells and even help reduce swelling. When studying the impact that it has on bacteria, researchers found that it harms their ability to function, allowing wounds to heal faster. To test just how effective it was, though, researchers treated several pigs with wounds by using both antibiotics and DIM. They found out the wounds that were treated with the antibiotics took about 10 days to fully close on average. DIM treated wounds only took about 5 days, though. The researchers published their findings in the chemical journals of the pharmaceutical whatever. They are currently working on developing the chemical into an ointment for animals. Additionally, they're trying to determine if the chemicals that heal the wounds faster can also be used as a food additive for animals. So there you go. Their DIM is coming out. Now, I say this to tell you this, or read this article to tell you this. Part of the thing that you guys know, I've been dealing with back pains and back issues and stuff, and I wish I would have had something, some kind of stuff they can stick in my back and fix it. When I was doing the whole railing thing, doing the rails and stuff, I have a herniated, what do they call it? Degenerative. You're degenerative. I got a degenerated disc in the back, just from being old and I don't know, hereditary, just part of being old, I guess. And part of the process of me getting heat stroke out there doing the fence, and also standing up and standing down and sliding and pushing and pulling and moving the stuff. Yeah, I couldn't move. I was dehydrated. I'm falling apart, man. I'm falling apart. I wish I had this stuff. My wife makes fun of me all the time when I go grocery shopping and I see that big jug of aloe. It's an aloe juice or something, from the yucca leaves or something like that. I'm like, I know that that's supposed to be good for you, so I want to drink it. So it goes through my body and kind of heals my body at the same time. I know it's snake oil, but I mean, for the most part, if it's in your mind, if you believe it, it'll happen, right? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. All right, guys, I want to talk about one more thing before you go swimming, and then I'll let you get back to enjoying the rest of your day. Stick around. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. We are broadcasting from the BellandT.com studios. If you want cheap, high-quality clothes and at affordable prices, I guess that's the same thing. Welcome back to Deacon Live. We are broadcasting from the BellandTea.com studios. If you want cheap, affordable clothing, quick and fast with customer service 100% guaranteed, go to BellandTea.com, as everything is made right here in the United States just for your convenience. Now, with all the hot weather that we have going on out there, it's nothing to jump in a pool and go swimming for a while. Please, everyone. I know we don't need to see any drownings or anything like that. And this is the time of year that we see those in the news. So please pay attention to your kids. Pay attention to anyone around you. Make sure that they're wearing the appropriate color swim trunks. Make sure they're not dark blue, dark black, or anything like that, because you can kind of get lost. There was a big article I was going to read on a couple podcasts ago where it says the importance of actually wearing a brightly colored bathing suit so you can see your child in the water and out of the water at the same time. You don't get lost in the ripples. So make sure you pay attention to your kids. So make sure everyone plays it safe out there. Now, sometimes you just can't get away from death. I know. What a segue, right? This neighborhood watering hole, when I say a watering hole, it's a pool. It's a community pool. Unfortunately, something unthinkable happened. A man dies after being sucked into a sinkhole when the water drains from the pool in just seconds. A man has died in front of his friends after the pool he was in drained within seconds when a sinkhole opened up underneath the pool itself. The victim, who has not been named, was dragged down underwater and fell into a chasm underneath in a Kamari Yosef, Israel, yesterday. So this didn't happen locally. This is over in Israel. Another man, 34, narrowly escaped and needed treatment from paramedics at the scene for his injuries in his lower body. The footage from the scene shows swimmers who were attending a private work party clinging to the side of the pool as the sinkhole swallowed up everything, including inflatables. The woman who saw the hole start to appear tried to get her friends to leave the pool, but it was too late. She told the Nyet news site, "Seconds later, the ground just dropped. I watched two people just disappear." They're not going to show the video, but here's a small picture of it right here. You can see this. You can see, oops. Did I hit the right button there? Yeah. So you can see, here's a still photo of it. This guy's basically standing, and it's not like you would think a concrete pool like here in the United States. It's kind of like it's huge. I mean, it's an Olympic-sized pool, but it's got like a vinyl lining in there. And you can see all the floaties and stuff right here in the center. As people, the moment the pool sinkhole opened up, you can see this right here. Look, all the pool floaties right there. And within seconds, a man that died had been sucked into the ground during a private pool party. You can see the hole just opened up. So I don't know if there was a leak underneath the pool and it kind of just washed out underneath it. But, I mean, that's what a sinkhole is. A search team spent 4 hours looking for the man's body and used GoPro cameras on their helmets to help them. Researchers had to be cautious and build support structures to prevent the second collapse. Paramedics told the Jerusalem Post, "When I got into the pool and I saw the pit that had opened at the bottom of the pool, I freaked out. People who were in the site told me that the pit just opened up suddenly, and within seconds the water of the pool was pulled in. Police have opened up an investigation into the death. A helicopter was used to research for other possible sinkholes in the area. For more information, you go blah, blah, blah." But, I mean, and I hate to say, when it's your time, but Jesus, you're sitting in a swimming pool and all of a sudden the bottom just opens up and sucks everyone in. Jesus, be careful out there. Be aware of your surroundings. Take your vitamins and brush your teeth before you go to bed at night. All right, guys, I hate to leave you on a sad note like that, but it's been a rough week for me, and that's about all you're going to get out of me this week. I'm sorry. I'm still sitting here in pain. As you can see, my Jason Howell haircut. I'm not doing too well. But I hope you guys are doing well. We thank each and every one of you for listening to us, downloading us, being a part of our show. And if you'd like to be the part of our show, get yourself some free stuff. Go over to Prophet Radio, PROPHET Radio. Get yourself some free stuff over there. I got a bunch of pins and magnets and stuff. Just fill out the little form there, and we'll send them out to you. Just to say thank you for listening to us. All right, guys, I'm going to let you get back to what you got to do. My name is the Deacon, saying good night and good night.
Wait, come back.
This is the end. The absolute end.
Écoute-moi.
There you go.